time now to get him sorted out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start teasing out the roots very carefully with my chopstick. Start removing some of this old soil here. This is a peaty kind of soil. It's not bad, you can see the roots have grown in it quite nicely. So carefully going to tease out the roots here. What I don't want to do is to really get in there too hard and start tearing the roots. So I'm actually holding the chopstick very gently and just teasing out the roots. You can see some of the soil would just fall away. It takes a bit of time, but there's no rush. The thing about bonsai is that you must take your time. There's no hurry, all right? The tree out of its pot like this, don't worry about the roots drying out. If it does get a bit dry, then just water it. Stick it in a tank of water or one of those puffer things that sprays it with water.
This is quite a crucial thing because it's the tree's lifeline, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. You've got to have good roots, all right? Good, strong roots, and then you'll have a good, strong tree. So this is the bit that a lot of people sort of neglect. I suppose they're a little bit frightened about it. It's in the pot. You don't see it, so you don't tend to worry about it so much. But you really do have to pay attention to this. We just carefully keep taking away a bit of the soil, a little bit at a time. Being very careful around the roots there. I also want to pay a lot of attention around here, around the start of the tree, and see if we can find something nice in there. This is what I call digging for gold, although we don't find any gold, but find some treasure in there. Sometimes you can be working on a tree and you can be digging away and digging away. It seems like hours and hours and hours. And all of a sudden you come across these beautiful roots that are buried down in there, buried down in the soil. And you think, oh, that's great. And it transforms the whole tree. It looks fantastic. And then again, another day you can keep teasing and teasing and teasing until you find the plastic on the bench. And then you think, oh, I haven't got any roots in there. So it's a bit of potluck, really, sometimes.
Is that a pun?
It wasn't intended to be a pun, actually, but... Right, so we're going down. You can see here the tree bends in here. So it looks like we found an extra curve. Curves are really important on bonsai. We need to work with the curve, so if you can find something in there to give it a bit more curvy, a bit more shape, we can bring that out a bit. Keep working down there. I don't want to remove all of the soil, but just enough so that we can see around the start of the tree here. See if we can uncover some treasure.
So the aesthetics of the roots are as important to you as the branches and the leaves?
Absolutely, yes, you've got to have a good start. And you can see around here actually we've got quite a nice strong part of the trunk here. We'll see where he goes off to. And you can see just by sort of uncovering this area here, if I show you, have a look at that bit there, and then I'll spin them around. And here where you've just got the soil, you're losing a big part of the tree there. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if I can just take that bit down a bit more. I think there might be a nice root under there.
So what would have happened to this little tree if you hadn't taken this trouble?
Well, obviously this bit here, it just makes it look nice and improves it. But if we didn't repot the tree now and give it a little bit of a root prune, gradually it would just get weaker and weaker. I mean, it's really nice and healthy at the moment, so there's no real problem. But gradually it wouldn't grow, the growth would slow right down and almost stop. Probably after about 5 years or so, it would just eventually die. But of course, it also becomes harder and harder to look after. If there's so much root in there and there's hardly any soil left in there, it's real packed in. It'll be very, very hard to water. There'll be very, very little air in the soil, and the roots need a lot of air. They need to breathe as well. So gradually the whole tree would just sort of become unhealthy and wither away and die. So it's very, very important that we keep the roots healthy. A bit more detail coming out now.
Is this a lengthy process?
Can be, Yes, I mean a little tree like this is not too bad at all, but on bigger trees, yes, it can take a good day to really tease it all out, get the roots out, and find the start of the tree.
How do you know how far to take it?
Well, as I say to a lot of my students, once you've hit the table, you've gone too far. All right, so don't go that far. What you need to do is you're looking for, around here, you're looking for where the roots go down, and you've got the, if you imagine my fingers here with the main roots, and this is the trunk coming down. So you've got the big thick roots here, and then they go down into the soil. Once you start finding the sort of the smaller roots, the fibrous roots, then it's time to stop. Sometimes on some trees you might not find any thick roots, but what you can do is to start looking for the smaller ones, and of course they'll thicken up and they'll grow. So if you don't find anything really strong and really nice around here, then the thing to do is just to stop, finish off the root pruning, get him potted up, and then wait. Next time you might find that some of the smaller roots have thickened up and taken on a bit more shape and a bit more character. But generally you find on a tree this sort of size and this sort of age, you should find something in there that's quite nice.
How often do you need to revisit the pot?
Have a look at the roots. Depends on the age of the tree. On a small tree like this, really wants doing every 2 years, I would say. Older trees, every 3 to 5 years, because they're growing slower and not worth disturbing them. But young trees, probably a little bit like this, probably every 1 to 2 years, just to make sure the roots are growing properly. Some good fresh soil in there, keep them growing nice and strongly.
What kind of soil do you have to add?
Right, well this is a peat, but what we're going to do is we're going to use a different kind of soil when we actually repot it. The reason being is because we use different soils for different types of trees, and we'll talk about that as we're going along a little bit. This is, as I said earlier, it's just a peat-based soil, which is pretty good for young roots, not bad at all. But what it doesn't do is it makes it quite hard to look after, in the fact that the tree can become waterlogged very easily. Not very good drainage. It also can dry out very quickly. So if we have a hot summer, then it can go sort of almost brick-like, which makes it very, very difficult to water. So we're going to change the soil. This tree came in from China, and they grow a lot of these out there, and they put them in this soil. Basically they dig them out of the ground, they pot them into peat. Peat's great for getting new roots going. There's obviously not a lot of root left by the time they've dug it out of the ground. We don't have a root problem at the moment, other than having too much. Right, so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to pass it over to my lovely assistant, who's going to carry on teasing out this one, so that we're not here all afternoon watching me tease out this one here, and then we're going to start on another one.